Arlin joined the staff of Homeboy Industries in 2012 as a kitchen manager, looking for some downtime after running kitchens at Whole Foods. But she fell in love with the people of Homeboy and is now director of social enterprise for the culinary division, managing day-to-day operations of virtually every business Homeboy owns. It says that she started her first business at 14, gets up at 4 a.m. to run her businesses, and is usually the last one to leave of the day. She has a big focus and passion for more women-focused social enterprises and becoming an advocate for businesses with a social mission. Arlin has taught Homeboy so much of what she knows about business, but Homeboy has taught her unconditional love. Please welcome Arlin Crane.
Good morning, everybody. I'm super excited to be here, and I'm also super nervous, so bear with me. Thank you guys for having me. This is an amazing opportunity. I love to speak about social enterprise. It's one of my passions. People always call me a social enterprise cheerleader. So, as you said, I came to Homeboys in 2012. I was an executive chef for Whole Foods Market on the west side, running $1 million kitchens. Basically, I was running numbers. I was watching a screen all day long and watching numbers, which is margin. How much money was I making that day? If anybody's ever worked for a grocery store, you work 24/7. You work every holiday. You just don't go home. So I was doing 16-hour days, 7 days a week. So I hit burnout and decided to take a break and thought, hey, why don't I just go and cook again? I was managing over 200 people, and I'd kind of become a paper pusher. So I thought, I'll just go cook. What would it be like to make soup every day? And, you know, I was blessed because I worked so much that I had a savings. So I took about a month off and slept, just slept. And then was like, okay, I'm going to find a basic job to see if my brain can recalibrate. There was Homeboy Industries. Kitchen manager. Oh, simple. Had no idea what Homeboys was. Had no idea who Father Greg was. Absolutely didn't care. It was just like, oh, this is going to be like, come in, work 8 hours, go home. Brain doesn't function. Just chop vegetables. So I went in, interviewed, still had no idea what it was, still had no idea who Father Greg was. Didn't even know what a social enterprise was like, whatever, it's the kitchen. Okay. Cut to it, get hired. I call my mom. My mom's a graduate of Seattle University. She's like, Father Greg, you're working for Father Greg, Mom. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, okay, I'm chopping vegetables, Mom. That's it. Long story short, I go into the kitchen on my first day. I had managed 200 people, mainly male kitchens. Okay, so female running male kitchens. Come in, my staff's all female. There's like 70 people in this one little kitchen that's probably about as big as this space or a little bit smaller. And basically, they're just all walking around. And I'm like, okay, this is awkward. I don't really know what to do, but we'll figure it out. But it wasn't my job at that point to figure it out. And I had to keep telling my brain, stop. It's not about efficiency, just make soup. At that point, Homeboys was in a transition. So I'm not sure if anybody knows the history of Homeboys. If you guys do, about Father Greg. We're a social service agency. We tend to say that we're a human service agency. It started in Boyle Heights in 1988. We are on our 30th anniversary, which is pretty awesome. It's amazing. And Father Greg, Jesuit priest, came into Boyle Heights at Dolores Mission. And basically, long story short, he got tired of burying people. He just got tired of funeral after funeral after funeral after funeral. So here this man decides, okay, we're going to get him a job, right? We're just going to get him a job. And started in this little office in Boyle Heights on 1st Street. And He just said, I don't know what we're going to do. And then the community just started to wrap around him. And I don't know, anybody in this room ever heard Father Greg speak? It's pretty mind-blowing. I mean, the man just, I get to work for the guy, and when I see him, but even when he speaks, it still sets me back on my heels. I mean, how amazing the man is. And the community wrapped around him, and Homeboys was built. So it went up and down, trial and tribulations, gang members, not something that people want to give money to, not very demonized, marginalized. And he just kept saying, hey, you know, they're people, they're human, they're people, they're human. So it grew and grew and grew. 2010, it kind of grew so much, I don't know if you guys know, so the doors closed. And the community came around and opened the doors back up and said, all right, we're going to go. So financial crisis, like I said, it's incredibly hard to fund money for felons and gang members. Due just to the fact of stigma, getting people to understand that they're human. I come on 2012. Right behind me came our new CEO. Homeboys had never had a CEO, but Father Greg's book, Tattoos on the Heart, if you guys ever haven't read it, read it with Kleenex. And Bark into the Choir is the new one, same way, read it with Kleenex. And Homeboys was going through a transition CEO. So I was trying to hide in the back in the kitchen, and I couldn't figure out why these businesses were just hemorrhaging money. Up one day, whole management staff in the food division gets up and quits in one day. I had only been there 3 months. So I was just like, okay. So our CEO at the time came down and talked to me, virtually said, okay, I know you're smarter than you're letting on, can you stay? And I was like, okay, I'll give you till the end of the year. Long story short, 6.5 years later, it's my home. So my first job was to figure out, wow, how is a cafe losing $2.5 million a year? How is a catering company losing $1 million a year? So, right, it's a social enterprise. So, i.e., kind of jump into social enterprise. Oh, okay, I got to figure this out. So, through the process, it was, I will say, the hardest process I ever went through in my life, because I couldn't find the balance. I was so used to running a kitchen efficiently. This is what you do, and if you do this, this happens. I didn't think about the people. And because we are mission-based, you had to train your brain on, it's okay, it's people. So I cried every day on the way home for 3 months and said, there's no way I can do this. There's no way I can do this. I remember just thinking, let me get this straight. Gang members. Now, I was somebody, the only thing I knew about gang members was a Tupac song. So, so I was like, does this really exist? It does. And then what I couldn't understand was, wait, you've got rival gang members in a kitchen with 10-inch chef blades. I don't think this is a good situation. I don't understand. And I was terrified. I was terrified how to reprimand them. I was terrified how to talk to them. I didn't even know if I could relate. And then one day, it's kind of funny because my boss always says, you should leave that out of your speech, is the kitchen just, and I'll say something about gang populations. They're very good about pushing people out. They're very protective. And so, you know, I was there, I didn't know I knew how to run a kitchen, but I didn't know how to relate to the population. So one day, there was a big, just row in the kitchen, and I lost my temper. And I just basically said, this is it. We're done. And you can all try to run me out, but I'm going to stay out of spite. And it kind of clicked, because they were like, uh-oh, we're not getting rid of her. So we might as well work together. So I'm very blessed that they allowed me in little by little. And so little by little by little by little, we've grown. One of the things that's unique to Homeboy Social Enterprise compared to other social enterprises is I run 8 social enterprises. All 8 of my social enterprises are run by former trainees, so basically everyone that's come through the program has come up through me. So you're talking about somebody who was formerly incarcerated, a gang member. Example, the girl that runs my kitchens, Mariana. She's my partner in crime, I call her. Barely got her GED, single mom, amazing story, and she runs $2.5 million of my kitchens. I don't think about it. So it was all about, the only way I could make this work is I had to get into the population. So I had to understand, okay, I can give you this, but I don't understand that. So we teamed up, and over the years, we've made an enormous amount of mistakes, and we've had amazing positive ones. But we developed a training program called It's a Dialogue. So we're constantly talking. We're constantly talking to our staff. So I'm the vice president of social enterprise. One of the reasons I love this space is because my office is about the size of that cubicle in a kitchen, and there's about 6 of us that share it. When I became an executive of the organization, I didn't want to leave my staff. One of the things is that when I'm asked to speak about on social enterprise is people. So I kind of focus on the people aspect and how do you keep your staff healthy, how do you keep them productive, and you have to remember people are your product. So I chose to stay in my little cram-packed cubicle sort of thing. So I'm in my kitchens every day, I'm in my bakery every day, I'm with my catering department every day. I go to City Hall, to all of our locations, and I chose to stay in with them. I like to be in the trenches. I'm a terrible executive. I'm impatient. I hate going round and round in circles, and I'm not very political. I like doing the work. I like being with them because it helps me understand more of the mission work. So social enterprise, to me, is a balance. It's your mission brain has to go and your business brain has to go. Because if I don't do it right, I hemorrhage the agency. If I hemorrhage the agency, all those donations that people are giving to have more people that are formerly incarcerated come through the doors, we can't have that because the businesses are eating away at the money. That's terrible. So then I'm not doing my job. But if I'm going too fast, which I've done, and grown too fast, I've left a wreckage behind me. I did that in 2015. We had 2 opportunities. We opened World Duty Free Group, if you guys saw in the airport. They asked us to bring in a wholesale food line, and we opened up a small commissary. That was another idea that was given to us in Culver City at Culver Studios. So both opportunities came in January. I looked at my boss and said, you got to pick one. He's like, they both won't go. June 1st, they both hit a contract and said, we got to be open. And it was like, you want me to open both? I mean, mind you, my whole staff is people that have come up through the program. So when you're thinking about opening a restaurant, and we had to open a restaurant, and they were like, oh, and by the way, you've got to be open in 6 days. And I was like, I got to be open in 6 days. Okay, okay. We went too fast. We didn't think of our pace. We jumped at the opportunity because what we did was we saw a dollar sign for social, we saw a dollar sign for Homeboys. We were like, boom. We didn't look behind us, and we wrecked a ton of people behind us. People relapsed, people broke down, people reoffended. It was terrible. It's something that still brings me to tears every time I have to talk about it, or makes me nauseated, because I did that. I was told to go, and my team, I'm like a football coach, my team's like, we'll go if you're going, and so I went, not my finest hour whatsoever. So at that point is when I stopped. And when I stopped and I started to focus on pace. Pace. What is our pace going to look like? And my whole paradigm shift, and all I started to caring about was the people, because the people were my product. So looking at it, every day I walk into my kitchen, my day does start at 4 a.m., my phone just zzz, because we're a culture of dialogue, so we're constantly talking. Imagine having 108 children and they all have your cell phone. That's pretty much how it is. And most of them, a lot of them don't have parents or have issues, and so I get things like, I dyed my hair blue this weekend, can I come to work on Monday? No. I got my fingernails done and it cost me $150 so I was going to a party, can I come to work? No, you're serving food. Those kind of questions I get as a mom, as well as, oh my gosh, the bakery's on fire. Yes, which happened 2 years ago. Or, oh my gosh, somebody dropped the fire extinguisher and we're in full service and everyone's covered in white powder. That was not fun either. So I get those. So in a way, I kind of feel like a giant mom at the same time, a teacher, at the same time, a single parent can be the bad guy. I hold my staff at an incredibly high standard. Because one of the things that happened when I first came was I wanted to focus on our catering department, selfishly because I love to cater. And it was all women. And I would go out with them just to figure out how they catered. And I watched how people treated them. I watched how people wouldn't allow them to use their bathroom. Wouldn't, guests were doing this and backing up. And it really, really irritated me, as I'm going to say politely in my language.